Welcome back, Inebri-art. This is your forgetful host, Andy. I'm gonna start this with an apology that I botched the scheduling of this. So our guest today, Jeff DePaoli, was very kind enough to wait while I realized I never wrote down the actual time in my calendar. So I am sorry officially, sir. I know I said my apologies beforehand, but I feel really bad. So Mike from America's Hometown Heart kind of connected us. You're a horror fan. You got something brewing up in Salem. So I kind of got like the basics, but I mean, why don't you just tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, first of all, no need to apologize. Thank you so much for having me on. But yeah, this is the second year I am producing a halfway to Halloween event in Salem, Massachusetts. It's called Wicked New England. It's for the sake, wicked witches, but also everybody in Boston says things are wicked, right? So I am someone who grew up in the New England area. I grew up in Massachusetts. I love Halloween. It is truly, I say this all the time, people don't believe me, but it is truly my favorite day of the year. It just feels really, really magical to me. And I love it so much. And so, I currently live in Los Angeles and I'm involved with a bunch of Halloween and horror stuff around here. But having grown up in New England, I was like, there's a special vibe with a New England Halloween. And back in New England a good amount throughout the year because my family's still there. But I just was like, there's nobody really celebrating what New England has to offer during the Halloween season. Everybody's got their own little things that they're promoting, but I'm like, collectively, nobody's really doing this. And I started asking around people in the area, and they were like, yeah, no, there's nothing like that. And there should be. I'm like, yeah, I agree, there should be. So last year I launched this event, Wicked New England, and it's essentially a halfway to Halloween festival, celebrating and letting folks know about what New England has to offer for the Halloween season. And we do that through a curated vendor market and stage presentations and stuff like that.
Nice. How this kind of came around to my knowledge is Mike and I from America's Hometown Horror did our own little horror con at a brewery for a couple of years, and so I totally appreciate what it is you're doing. You're smarter than we were because the first year we try to run it like the weekend of Halloween, and there's just so much going on. There's so much competition that I feel like that hurt us a lot. And so, kind of doing it, you're right. I mean, there is a huge base of people who love horror and Halloween and things gothy and weird and cryptic in this area, and so to kind of do something when it's nice out, where I mean, the last one we ran, we got sideswiped by a hurricane, and I mean, like that was, you're always dealing with weather, but that one was rough. So I really I dig the idea of what you're doing, and Salem's like the perfect spot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I want, as this continues to grow, and it has grown a bit since last year, but as it continues to grow, I really want the local haunts and stuff to get involved. And as it is, some of these haunts already are doing their own halfway to Halloween, just like opening their doors for halfway to Halloween. And so it's tough to get them involved because they're busy with that. But I mean, especially during the Halloween season, it's like nobody's available.
Right? Yeah.
And halfway to Halloween just kind of feels like the perfect time to start celebrating that sort of stuff. And, there are people where it's a lifestyle, it never goes away at any time during the year. But I feel like even the folks who maybe that's not the case, where it's not always on their mind, halfway to Halloween feels like a good reason to start thinking
Yeah.
and planning and
What
stuff like
what's
that.
the official date of it?
Sunday, April 19th. So it's the day before the Boston Marathon. So our theme this year is we're calling it like a monster marathon weekend, although
Nice.
there's no running involved, so don't worry. But we'll have our monsters lurking around the event, and we have some really great people involved. Barrett's Haunted Mansion, whom
Oh,
I
sure.
just I adore those folks. They're going to have their monsters lurking around, and they're going to be
Nice.
giving kind of a costumes demonstration, how you can find inexpensive clothes at a Goodwill or something, and how to age them and make them look appropriate for a Halloween costume. So, I this is more it's a an event for Halloween fans, not necessarily like industry people. So I really try and focus on, even though we have like people from the industry coming, I'm like, we're looking at entertaining and like informing in the sense of if somebody loves to decorate their yard or loves to dress up or
Hmm.
has a home haunt or something like that. Like, let's educate those people on techniques that they might not know about and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like that.
cool. So
Yeah.
this is purely, I don't want to say purely, but like very focused on Halloween. I usually find these
Yeah.
things that are just more like horror in general. So this is like very like Halloween forward.
Yeah, so I mean, horror certainly has its place in the world of Halloween, but the Halloween in New England is really the focus of it. So our vendors will come from everywhere. Some of them are just horror people, some of
Yeah.
them are spooky. Like it's a good mix of horror, spooky, spoopy, Halloween sort of stuff. And one of my goals, I always tell people when I launched this, I know it's in Salem, but this is not called Wicked Salem. This is not called Wicked Massachusetts. This is called Wicked New England. And
Hmm.
like I really want to emphasize that through the programming. And so I'm like really happy this year. I almost got here last year, but I missed by one state. But this year I have representation in the vendor market from every single New England state and even beyond. We have people coming from New York and Pennsylvania. So, Salem does a lot of vendor markets
Yeah, they do.
and
Yeah.
nothing against them. They do great work, but a lot of them are the locals, the
Hmm.
Massachusetts folks or Salem folks. And I just didn't want to do the same thing. So that has been a real a part of it that I put a lot of focus into. And as we continue to grow, we have performers and panelists coming from Connecticut and beyond and New Hampshire. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see it keep growing and
What
do it
what
right, hopefully.
what kind of panelists are like? What can people expect for the panels?
Yeah, so I'm excited because our stage this year is being decorated by Heirloom Halloween, which you probably have not heard of because Heirloom Halloween is this is going to be their first thing they're launching with Wicked New England. It's a traveling Halloween museum,
Oh,
and
cool.
they have an incredible collection of just like old jack-o'-lantern decorations and postcards and just decor and stuff and like this real cool vintage stuff. So that'll be on display on the stage, and they'll be doing a stage presentation as well, talking about some of their favorite pieces. And then we have Hocus Pocus Live, an all new parody musical, which is a drag version of Hocus Pocus that comes from Summer Orlando Productions in Connecticut. And our Sanderson sisters will be there all day taking photos, meeting guests, but also doing a stage presentation about their offerings because it's not just this one show. They do a cabaret act, they do, I think, a train ride as well as the
Oh,
Sanderson
neat.
sisters.
Yeah.
So that should be a really fun discussion. And it's fitting because the building we're in is Old Town Hall in Salem, Massachusetts, which, if you're a Hocus Pocus fan, you probably know the exterior of that building was used for the big party scene in the film. So they actually, Disney shot there. And so that'll be fun. Barrett's, as I said, is doing that costume demonstration. Wicked Ghost Hunters is coming to talk about some more ghost stories that they've encountered on their little expeditions. We have Salem's Black Hat Society. Are you familiar with Bora, the Witch of Salem?
I think so. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, Bora
Yeah.
is a local witch celebrity character, and Bora will be there and will, doing photos all day and also doing a mass wedding vow renewal, which will be a lot of fun. So
Oh,
anybody who
that's
wants to
cool.
renew their wedding vows, come do it with Bora, who is, licensed to do such things. And then our sponsor is Witch City Walking Tours and Witch City Broom Company, both of which will be giving a presentation as well. And do you know Alexandra at Halloween New England?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, I do. She's so sweet. She's been on our show.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
adore Alexandra. Alexandra is one of the first people I ever told about Wicked New England when I was kind of doing the research and like, is there anything like this? And how I met Alexandra is this crazy long story that we don't have to get into right now, but basically through her husband and his haunt work. But in any case, she will be there talking about the the kid friendly or family friendly events around New England because I know everybody thinks, oh, Halloween haunted house, so much more to do. If you're not
Yeah.
into the horror or the scary, so much to do. And Halloween New England will be talking a bit about that. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
lot of
her
fun.
site lists everything from like corn mazes to like really, really scary things. And
And not only does she list a lot of different sorts of things, she is like on top of keeping it current and updated.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is truly, I don't think this is her phrase or slogan, but I always just say it's the ultimate, Halloween directory resource for New England. And it
Oh, for
truly
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Like
There's
I
nothing I can't there's no one who's going to spend the amount of time she does to make something similar. It's there's nothing even close to it. So,
No, it's fantastic.
yeah.
And she's a great promotional partner with Wicked New England, and I love having her on board.
And I think if the town hall is where I think it is, you're going to be right near friends of the show, East Regiment, the East Regiment Beer Company.
Possibly it's right on Essex Street in the very touristy area. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
where that
think
beer company
I
is.
think it's right. Is there like a giant like parking lot in front of it? Is that?
There's the big parking lot, which is part of the Witch City Mall,
Yeah,
and that's very close to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where East Regiment is. So
Very cool.
got to give them a little shout out because we work with them all the time. So
All good.
yeah. So we've run all sorts of events, and everyone has its own little challenges. But I can't imagine trying to do it from like across the country. Like, what possessed you to do that?
It was a couple things. I mean, I love this world of horror and Halloween, and I do work with people out here in that genre as well. I don't have one that's solely my own out here. I partner with other great conventions and horror events like Midsummer Scream and Creep at Real OC and great stuff out here. But I wanted something that was mine that I had more control over. And I knew very quickly, I was like, I don't want to do it out here in Southern California because it's an oversaturated market when it comes
Yeah,
to Halloween and horror. Like literally every weekend of the year, you can find some sort of horror event or Halloween event to go to. It could be as small as a quick little vendor pop up or a movie screening or something, but like it's constant. So I was
yeah,
like, well, I don't want to do that. But also, like I said, I grew up in New England and New England Halloweens, like SoCal Halloweens are amazing. I love them. But New England Halloweens are like ultimate. There's a reason why every piece of media we see, or most pieces of media we see related to the holiday, all take place in the New England area, or at least have the New England vibes to it, because it's
yeah.
just classic.
You
And
get
so,
the crusty leaves and the like it's
totally.
yeah for sure.
Totally. And so like but then on top of that, to be honest, when I started like doing the research for this and stuff, I was like, well, it's been a number of years since I've checked out some of the local haunts in New England. Let me do that and see if it's something I feel is worth celebrating. And I went and I was blown away because I'm going to like, stuff out here is major corporations and millions of dollars and stuff. And it's more like homegrown in
Yeah,
New England. But holy crap, like the love and the attention to detail and the people involved with it are fantastic. And I was like, more people need to know about all of these. So, ultimately, I would love for every single thing listed on HalloweenNewEngland.com, Alexandra's website, every single thing listed there to be represented in some way at Wicked New England. Like that would be a dream. Obviously, impossible given the amount of events that exist. But as the years go on, gosh, I hope we hit as many of those as we possibly can because people are doing great work and it's worthy of celebrating.
so last year being your first year, were there like surprises that jumped up? Because I know there's always that like there's always something that comes up, but like was there something that unexpected that you're like, oh, I didn't, unexpected permitting or
Yeah, I mean the city
yeah,
stuff is always difficult, right? Like
yeah.
that's the most difficult part is just, I'm a guest in Salem and it's just dealing with the local authorities is
Were they
never,
receptive to it or
oh, for sure. I mean,
yeah?
they're making money off of it, so why not?
Well,
Um,
you'd think, because we've worked with a lot of towns, and some towns are a lot easier to work with than others.
yeah,
It's
I wouldn't say it's the easiest to work with, but it's
yeah.
totally doable. And the relationship I have with some of the people at Old Town Hall is pretty nice. And I had produced one event in Old Town Hall before. It was called the I Put a Spell on You Masquerade, and basically, as I mentioned, Hocus Pocus used that building in the film, the exterior of the building, but what I did was inside I recreated a version of the party from the film with
Oh,
Sanderson
cool.
sister performers and stuff. So I did that in 2024 during the Halloween season. And then I premiered Wicked New England in 2025 in the same building. Totally different sort of event. One was a a performance essentially, and this other one's a vendor market with stage presentations and monsters and trick or treating and stuff like that. So two totally different events, but I knew the building a little better. And when you talk about what's the hard part about doing it on the other coast, the hardest part is just when I like there are definitely times where, like, I just want to swing by the venue and take a look at something real quick, and I can't.
Yeah.
And luckily I work with some really great people in Salem. Like, I have a great little street team of people who are just open and receptive to playing along and getting involved. Like Joe at the Horror Squad podcast is a really great help, and a lot of great people. Bora is a great help and has a lot of connections in Salem. So, I'm happy that they're excited by the event and that they've decided to take part in the event, and they really helped me out quite a bit.
Yeah, we do events with a lot of breweries, but like just a lot of different locations in general. And like I think the thing that I'm always trying to explain to our vendors and attendees is there's a real challenge when it's not your space. Because sometimes you show up and you're like, oh, everything's different now than when I walked this 3 months ago. And so now you're trying to like shuffle people around. And we did one event, we took over an entire parking lot at this brewery, and I was placing the vendors. And as I got to the corner, there were 15 porta potties from whatever the event was the day prior. And I'm like, well, shit, what am I going to do with that? Like,
Literally.
yeah, like I can't put vendors next to it or in front of it. They're going to like freak out. So it's like, I've always found you have to really be flexible, and, you spend a lot of time kind of like talking vendors off the ledge. And yeah, it's a challenging thing to do.
Yeah, and loading and unloading Old Town Hall is not the easiest space because it's not like right on the street. So it has its challenges. It's crazy how much time and attention and, frankly, just stress goes into producing something like this. But,
Hmm.
like, with anything I produce, any live event I produce, I always have the same goal in mind, and that is that at least one person in attendance had the best day of the week, month, or year. And if that happened, like, I'm really happy. Like, truly, that's not just something I say. Like, I love live events. I
Yeah.
studied theater in college in Boston, and just live entertainment, that pop-up sort of entertainment that here today, gone tomorrow, super fragile. It just excites me, and I love things on location. But it's stupid. Like, you got to be stupid to do it, like to produce it. I mean, you've got to
I,
have a screw loose at the very
Stupid
least.
is hurtful. I go
Okay,
with like
you got to
glutton for
go
punishment.
glutton for punishment and a bit of a screw loose. I would say
Yeah.
it's takes a lot, but I don't want people to think about that who are attending. I want them to just have a great time. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, knock on wood, the feedback last year was fantastic. And that's always, when I look at like where people are buying tickets from, it's like all over the country.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that feels like that's where really start to feel pressure when people are booking flights to come. Even if it's not the sole reason they're in the area, I'm
Yeah.
still like, oh my gosh, you're taking time out of your vacation to come do this thing that I produced. Like, I really feel an obligation to make this great for these people. And honestly, I'm just a very tough critic when I go to live events. And so it wouldn't be fair if I didn't do the same to my event. And, I see shortcomings all the time, but based on the feedback, people had a great time, and it will just continue to get better year after year.
Yeah. The tricky thing with feedback is people always like when you ask them 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you it's great, even if they had a terrible time. Because like people don't want to make you feel like
I mean, I think if you approach somebody face to face, but if you send out an email survey, I think people are very honest.
yeah, okay.
And
I was thinking face to face, but yeah, you're probably right. With an email survey, they're
yeah.
more.
And also, if somebody's unhappy, they're very quick to let you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think the face-to-face thing, sure. People are nice and people don't like confrontation, so they're not going to say anything mean, but you can always tell when they when they don't have anything like Solid to say. It's funny if I go see a friend in a show or something and I don't love what I just saw, I'll always just, oh my gosh, it looks like you had so much fun. And that's just, it's a polite thing to say, but
Yeah,
you're also not lying. It did look
yeah,
like they had fun, and I hope they're proud of themselves. But, it just wasn't my cup of tea or whatever. But yeah, I think people are pretty honest if you seek like feedback through surveys and such.
yeah. Yeah, I think one of the nicest compliments we ever got, we ran a punk rock show on a mini golf course last summer. We called it Putt Putt Punk, and I mean, it was a good crowd. Everyone seemed to have a really good time. It was an older crowd, like people like I feel like mostly my age, my generation. And there was like these three kids who were probably like 17-ish, and they were kind of like pushing and shoving and kind of like dancing a little bit, but just kind of by themselves. And so like as they were leaving, I was just kind of like, oh, not really pit today, us old punks, blah blah blah. I'm like, I hope you guys had a good time. And one of them goes, "This was our first real concert." And I was just like, "Oh my god, you think we're a real concert?" It just felt so genuine and sweet that was like the nicest.
Listen, imposter syndrome is just a thing, right?
Oh my
Like,
god, yeah, yeah,
so yeah, it's a tough thing to get over. And honestly, I don't know if you ever really do 100%. And I'm just always grateful for like anybody who's willing to take part in the event and take that leap of faith. And then anybody that buys a ticket to it, I'm just like, thank you for trusting me and trusting this event. And I know there's a lot of offers out there. I know money's tight, which is why I keep a super reasonably priced ticket. It's $11 if you
Oh,
go to the
that's a
website and buy it.
steal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
that's crazy cheap. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I want as many people. Basically, if you want to come to it, I want you to be able to come to it. Is
yeah,
what it comes down to. And some people will go in, they'll shop the vendor market, and they'll spend 45 minutes there. Other people will spend hours there, and they'll want to see like the panels all day long. And we have a full day of panels that will happen. So there's something for everyone. And I love to see kids there. I love to see people in costumes. So come dressed up. And, this year we're having trick or treating for the kids. So some of the vendors will take part in that. And if you're a
oh,
kid,
that's cool.
yeah, show up
Yeah.
at the front door, and, we'll give you a trick or treat bag and a list of the vendors to go visit and just have some fun.
Do you have, I mean, this is your second year, but like, do you have like big, big plans? Like, how much
Oh
do you
yeah.
think this can grow?
I think it can grow very large, and that is my plan for it. And, I hope someday we graduate from a festival into something bigger than a festival. And I'm really don't ever want to falsely advertise what the event is.
Yep.
So I use the word festival because I think that is what it is currently. But I'd like it to become more of a convention eventually at some point. And, Salem is not set in stone for me because if you know Salem, they don't have large spaces,
No,
and like this building we're in, we can fit about 45 vendors, which isn't small, but it's not huge either.
no, no.
And it's a great mix of vendors and really great people. It's the tough thing that happens is number one, we get way more vendors applying than we have space for. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of no's that have to happen. And the really difficult part is, yes, we have some people returning who are just like a really perfect fit and or really easy to work with.
That's
Uh,
huge. That's so
it's huge. And
huge.
yeah, I don't know how does your audience like kind of the behind the scenes of stuff like this? Because
I hope so, because that's what we're talking
okay,
about.
well, what I'll say is if you're a vendor and you want to take part in an event, whether it's mine or anybody else's, make the producer's job as easy as possible. And what I mean by that is, I have a form that they fill out, and I totally accept and I'm okay with a lot of the vendors that come. Their business isn't 100% horror or Halloween. That's cool. Their business could be candles, right? And they have
Yep.
different candles for any time of the year. But when I specifically say in the form, this show is focused on Halloween and horror and spooky and all that stuff, Show me that. And you send me photos of stuff that isn't that. It's really easy for me to say no to you.
Yeah.
Really easy. So just make the producer's job easy, not because we're lazy, but because we get so many things to look over. And there are so many people who are being appropriately filling these things out. And so they just outshine you. And
Yeah.
it's so much easier to say yes to them. And then once you're in, be a pleasure to work with. Like live events innately have problems. There's no doubt about it. I don't do everything perfectly, that's for sure. And just the day comes and stuff isn't perfect. Just, like be aware. Granted, if somebody's being really lazy or something's just wrong, like, if
Yeah.
I, as the producer of the thing, we're doing something blatantly wrong, that's one thing. But if it's like, yo, you delayed loading in because there was a traffic backup, like, just understand that's just kind of part of life. And
Right. Right. There's
don't
nothing you can
come,
do about that.
nothing
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
about it. Or if it's raining or whatever, like, don't come attack me about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is funny how sometimes people don't make it easy. And I'm like, well, you just made my life real easy because the answer is no.
Oh, there are so many times that vendors will be like, "Well, I'm just not going to apply." Then you're like, "Good, like okay,
Yeah.
that's fantastic." But like
Yeah.
my biggest pet peeve is like our setup time will be at like say 10 in the morning, and a
Mhm.
lot of our venues are outdoors, so there's nothing preventing you from like walking up, and they'll walk up and I'll be like, "Don't talk to me till 10."
Yeah.
And it's like, because if I stop to talk to you for 2 minutes and stop to talk to them for 2 minutes and start, my whole hour is gone, and they don't get it. And it's very, very frustrating.
But on the flip side of that, I will say there are a lot of people who are wonderful to work with. And
Oh, for
I
sure.
unfortunately just have to say no because I'm like, listen, we just need to switch up the variety. I don't want to give guests the same thing every year.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, when I move into a larger space and can fit more vendors, I can have more repeat people that I loved working with. Also, keep in mind, like, let's say, and everything I'm saying is not just about my event. I just
Yeah.
keep this in mind, events in general. If I said no this year, apply again next year because I just might not want to have your thing multiple years in a row, but that doesn't mean I don't want you back. And we don't have the time to let everybody know our exact reason why they
Right.
weren't accepted. But I'll tell you, if you don't put thought into your application and or follow what we're asking for in the application, it just makes it an easy no. But I just want to say before we move any further, you have balls producing events outdoors in New England because that's the one thing.
Yeah.
As much as I want to do it, there are so many outdoor events I would love to produce in New England. And, Southern California, 90% of the time, you're good. I mean, it might be hot, but it ain't
Yeah.
gonna rain you out. New England, as it is, we're like creeping out into Derby Square this year.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, but that's not like, I'm like, we're rain or shine because the majority of the event is inside the building. And I warned those vendors outside. I'm just letting you know, like, this event's happening, rain or shine, because most of us are indoors.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed it's good weather because I want that for everybody involved. But man, producing a fully outdoor event in New England is I don't have that in me anymore because
It's and generally the ones that we produce that are fully outdoors are smaller scale, so we can have like a rain date. But like I
mm,
know, I've gotten to know a guy that throws an art festival at the library that's like 75, 100 vendors, and it's like he has shuttle buses and police details. That's rain or shine, man. Like if that doesn't matter, you have too many moving parts that you cannot move, and it's like you just gotta, yeah. It's the one thing that we have learned, especially being in New England, is you do not call a rain date until it the earliest noon the day before. Because there's
yeah,
been
because it changes so quickly.
so many times where like I'll wake up and I'll be like, if it's not raining, I'm gonna freak out. And then you look out the window and it's like barely drizzling, and I'm like, I would have made it happen today. This would have been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean it's I don't know, it just seems like the outdoor venues are easier to come by and just like more I, I think what you're doing is more destination oriented, like people are going to go to a horror thing. Like some of ours are more just like artist pop-ups where I feel
Hmm.
like they're in downtown Plymouth, and people walking by will be like, "Ooh, let's walk in, like just walk up and check it out." I think that's just kind of like a little bit of difference, but it's, I mean, it's all challenging.
Yeah, it's as far as like the destination thing, the majority of our tickets last year were sold in advance, but we definitely had some people walking by that were like, "Hey, what's going on?" and bought a ticket and came inside. So, yeah, two live events are very exciting, but holy moly, you said the venue thing, that's the toughest part is finding a venue that you're happy with and
Yeah.
finding dates you're happy with. I mean, in all honesty, my event is a little earlier than I probably would have planned. When you say halfway to Halloween, the true halfway to Halloween is either April 30th or May 1st.
Yeah.
So my original goal was first weekend of May, I will do this event, but just looking at availability, it doesn't help that Salem's turning, what is it, 400 years old this year? They're having a big anniversary.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so
Got to be
they're
like, yeah, because Plymouth just turned 400 6 years ago.
okay. So they're having big celebrations and stuff happening in Salem, making their venues less available. And, I got what I could. And the event's on a Sunday this year instead of a Saturday, but like I chose it because it's the day before the Boston Marathon and Patriots Day. So
Yeah.
people in Massachusetts will have the day off of work, and it's essentially the same
Oh,
vibes as a
yeah, yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. That's right. That's we're taking part in a event at a dispensary because they're doing essentially their 420 celebration that day.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they're like, we don't want to do it on the Monday. They're like, we're gonna do it on Sunday. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So
There you go.
it's but I mean that's the other thing is there's just so many things going on, which is great. It's great to have like options, but it's tough because I've done events and that you just miss, the downtown waterfront festival or something, then you're competing with it and you're like, yeah, no one's here today because I, didn't know about this other thing going on or I missed something. And then it's that can be real tough.
Yeah, you'll never find the perfect date because there's always something that's going to happen. And I guess when it comes to that, you really just got to figure out like two or three things that you're like, man, we really can't go against that because it's too much of the same crowd, too much
Yeah.
of the same audience and interested, and just pay attention to those. If you look at every little event, you're never, in fact, last year we were during the like a Salem Film Festival or something, or horror film festival or
Yeah.
something happening in Salem. We're up against them same weekend. And, part of me is like, okay, this could be good as well. Like there
Yeah.
could be people coming to town who wouldn't normally be there, who might come across Wicked New England. So it's always kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah. Yeah. We run the Rhode Island Hot Sauce Expo. And this past year, it was a snowstorm
Mm.
and the Patriots were playing to get into the Super Bowl. And I'm like, no one's going to be here. And, thank God it had a great turnout. I think about what we did the year before or a little smaller, which is never, you always want to build from the year before. But I was just like, all things considered, that's a huge win today. So,
Yeah, I will say sporting events on TV, which is something I don't pay attention to personally, just because I just don't care.
right there with you.
That is
Yeah.
something that can really affect the attendance, and yeah. So that's something else you got to think about.
Yeah.
Or if it's a big movie opening weekend, like, if there were a huge horror movie opening the same weekend, it's like,
Sure.
oh, you got to consider that. It's the
Yeah.
same audience, you
We
know?
we avoid June in general, just between graduations and Pride.
Mm.
Like no one's around on any weekend, so it's like we try not to do that. And
You know,
it's
what's funny about like conflicting or same audience needed? It's so funny to me out here in Los Angeles, Pride weekend is in June, always the same, like the big Pride event in West Hollywood is always the same day as the Tony Awards. And I'm like, this is the same audience.
yeah, that's
Why
that's
are you
weird.
doing this the same day every single year? I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm missing these events in WeHo because like the Tony Awards are on. So it always makes me laugh a little bit, but
yeah.
maybe it's purposeful. Who knows?
Do you have like has this inspired you to want to do other like kind of take this model and do it in other locations?
No, I really like. You mean like locations in like this event, other places in New
Yeah,
England, or a
like
different
or
event?
just or like this event and another like
Oh, for
you
sure.
know
Like I would like to do new like as I said, it's not Wicked Salem, it's not Wicked Massachusetts, it's
Yeah.
Wicked New England. So to me, this event can go anywhere in New England. And I am not dead set on Salem. The reason I chose Salem was because I felt like, in a first year event, I was like, I need to give this event some sort of legitimacy.
Yeah.
And like, fair or not, just being in that city does give it legitimacy.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like the home of Halloween. Like,
Yeah. So I think it was a great place to start. I think it will outgrow it, and I'm actively looking for other locations. So if anybody in New England knows a great indoor location for a halfway to Halloween festival, feel free
yeah.
to reach out and talk to me.
Or any good locations at all, feel free to share them because it's still, we're always got like ideas on the back burner, and it's just like if you want to find it kind of like close to highways and easy to get to, and does it have parking, and
I
you
mean,
know,
half the reason I go to events is to check out locations. Like I love a good location. And when I say good location, like don't get me wrong, convention centers are great and stuff, but like they're just such a blank slate. And I know that this is the difficulty I'm gonna run into moving forward is like I have such a cool space with just innate character to it.
yeah,
And so no matter where I go next, I feel like it's going to be hard to live up to that. And that's a challenge for sure. But you need more space.
yeah.
It's the building ain't getting any bigger, that's for sure.
And there's certain spots that always kind of lend themselves in a very specific way, like to events that conventions that I've gone to in the past that always had like this party weekend vibe to them. Like it just became like you would take Friday and Monday off so you could just enjoy the whole everything about that. Was there was a collectible show in Framingham at this hotel that like the facade was built to look like a castle,
Oh,
but it had like a restaurant, it had a really big like ballroom and some panel rooms below, but then it's like right attached to the hotel, so people would just stay the whole weekend and no one would leave the hotel, and everyone in the hotel was there for the same reason, so it's just like this huge party all weekend.
yeah.
And the other was Rock and Shock in Worcester,
Mm-hmm.
because it was like convention during the day, concerts at night at the end of the block, but then everyone would just cross the street and stay at the hotel that had an Uno. So like if you attended or if you were a guest, like everyone was staying in the same hotel. Everyone went to Uno's because there was nothing else to do there. So it's just like everyone was forced together all weekend long. It made it so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. That's why these sorts of events do well, and they're only doing better as the years pass. I mean, post-pandemic, people were really craving person-to-person experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and it really hasn't slowed down. And as online shopping continues to get bigger and bigger, people do crave in-person shopping experiences that they don't get on the day-to-day basis anymore. And so, there's a lot of things working in favor for live events like this. And I listen, the reason I love producing them is because I love going to them. I think
Yeah,
they're a blast.
yeah. And it's funny because I'm very much the same way, but then it's like you end up not having the same experience because you're running it and you're the like go-to guy, you
Oh
know?
yeah, no, my event is
Yeah,
not for me.
yeah,
That's not why I produce my event. I produce my event for other people to enjoy, not for me to enjoy. But I go to other events for me to enjoy and also, look at with a critical eye and be like, "Oh, what are they doing that works well? What are they doing that doesn't work well?" And that's the best way to learn.
oh, for sure. Yeah. What is your favorite event that you've gone to?
I mean, I like Halloween related or just
Sure. I mean, just in general.
I mean, this is not fair because they have many millions of dollars to do it. But D23 Expo, the Disney fan convention in
Oh, yep.
Anaheim every
Mhm.
2 years, is a convention that is just, I mean, it's done so well. I mean, I've done Comic-Con, but I actually prefer D23 more. Granted, I am much more of a Disney fan than like a superhero fan, but they take over the Anaheim Convention Center in a way that is just crazy, and their show floor is just crazy. But it's many, 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 many millions of dollars pumped into it, And I honestly don't know if it's profitable. And what I mean by that is like they may be willing to take a loss
Right.
and look at it just as marketing dollars
Hmm.
because it's an entire weekend of marketing. I don't know, to be honest. It's run by D23, which is the official Disney fan club. And I don't know because they're, gosh, not, I mean, they've grown beyond the Anaheim Convention Center. They now have part of it at the Honda Center, which is an
Yeah.
arena, a sporting arena where they do the big showcases at now. So
But
that's
you're
a
right.
different animal.
It's one of those things where, their goal may even just to be break even,
It may be, yeah. I mean, knowing Disney, it's probably not. They probably are like really trying to make a profit with it,
Yeah.
but it's impressive with it. I mean, this alone costs tens of thousands of dollars, if not six figures. They carpet the entire convention center.
Yeah. And
So most can,
that
yeah.
is so crazy. So my last, I hate saying real job because I work harder now than I ever did. Um, but I worked in marketing for a stainless steel company and I
Mhm.
organized their trade shows. And for a 10 by 10 patch of carpet was like $1,000 because
Yeah.
you have to pay some union guy. It's got to be the right union guy to do it, to lay it down. It's got, oh, do you want padding under it or do you just want to stand on the concrete? Do you want us to vacuum it after we're done and just want to leave, shit all over it? It was, I think, like $350 just to get it vacuumed once. A 10
A
by
10
10.
by
A
10.
10 by
That's
10.
crazy. Yeah.
It was
So
just like the amount of money they charged for everything it was insane how much money he's throwing around there.
Yeah, so just picture miles of carpet because these convention centers, other than the lobbies, they're just cement
Yep.
floor. And I will say, like, not only does the carpet look tremendously better, but holy crap, your feet feel so much better by the end of a weekend
Oh, for
when
sure.
you've got carpet down. So I love it. And honestly, that's kind of how I judge whether or not it's a quality convention
It was
now,
got
is if,
carpeting.
oh, hell yes. I walk in, I'm like, it's got, and to be fair, the
Yeah,
only
if
one I've
I
ever,
don't mean to ask, does
it does not have carpet.
okay.
But I will say it does not have cement. It has
All
wood floors.
right.
So you know what? I'm going to give myself a little step above the cement floors. But yeah, I mean, I work with some big conventions that don't have carpeting. And in fact, I even went to Star Wars Celebration, so another
Yeah.
Disney convention, and they didn't have carpeting. Now, this was right after like everything reopened after pandemic. So I think they kind of used that as an excuse. I think they used to have carpeting.
It was probably
But
like a
like
little bit of a, kind of one of those like, well, we're going to cut this corner because we're coming
totally.
out of COVID. Yeah.
Yep. And San Diego Comic Con doesn't. So like it's rare. It's really
Yeah.
rare. I think trade shows are more likely to have them
Yeah.
than
I
like
think
fan conventions.
most of the trade shows that I've been to has it in like the aisles, but like your booth is
Mm.
your option. And then there's, you can get the nice carpet, you can just get the shit that just covers the floor. But yeah, it's an entire industry built around putting up a show, taking it down. They're up for like 4 days. It takes them like 3 days to set them up, 2 days to tear them down. It's baffling.
But I love it. I mean, it excites me tremendously to
Yeah.
walk into an empty convention center and then like 2 days later have it stunning and beautiful and then like open the doors and let thousands of people
Yeah.
in and then everybody exits and everything's ripped apart in a matter of hours and it really brings me a huge amount of joy and satisfaction to
Yeah.
watch that process. The carpet thing though, I don't know what they do with it all after. I mean, is it just trashed? I don't know. If
I
so,
don't know. I think like the aisle ones, I'm sure they replace them frequently, but I bet you they like the long stretches in the aisles, I bet you they reuse.
I'm just saying like
Yeah.
wastefulness as far as
Yeah.
like trash heaps and stuff. I don't
Oh,
know if it's
that
recyclable.
entire industry is like a lot and a lot of waste.
Yeah.
I've been to my fair share. We've been to one of our other shows, have gone to the Bar and Restaurant Expo a few times, which is interesting because if you're there at the very end, you have a lot of people who have, they had to freight in their booze to sample, but now they don't want to freight it out. So they're just like people just handing you bottles of shit, and it's a lot of fun. And then when my last job was in the construction industry, people would build miniature houses in there with like second floors and balconies, and that would all just get torn down. And yeah, I mean, it's when you really think about like the carbon footprint of it all, it's just it'll make you cry. But
Yeah, it's a wasteful
yeah,
industry for sure, but I mean, clearly people enjoy it, I
yeah, I
guess.
mean, more business is done in those things, and it's just so condensed. And but
And not only
um
is it great business for like these carpet businesses and vendors and stuff, like the everybody around it, like the hotels around it, the restaurants around it, like everybody benefits from it.
yeah,
I always find it interesting. I actually have always said I think it would be fun. Of course, there's so many workplace sitcoms out there. I'm like, I want to see a workplace sitcom like in an arena or a convention center, or like one week it's like a hockey game, the next week it's the circuses in town. I'm
yeah.
like, that would be so much
Oh
fun to
God,
play with.
you brought back like, we I did I think it was Rock and Shock in Worcester, and it was immediately following the circus, so the entire convention reeked of like hay and elephant crap. It was brutal. But I mean, it's I love going to them. I love setting up with them. You just have these weird experiences that you're never going to have anywhere else. Um, and if you're selling, you meet regulars and friends, and it's like carny people, but way more friendly, and you get to connect more. I do love it.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Or where can people go to find out more information?
wickednewengland.info, info. So just wickednewengland.info. You can find tickets there. You can find panel news, frequently asked questions, all that stuff over at wickednewengland.info. And the event is on Sunday, September 19th, 2026 in Salem, Massachusetts at Old Town Hall.
What are the hours? What time to start?
Noon to 7.
Noon to 7. Nice. And social medias, I assume they can just find.
Yeah, mainly on Instagram, it's wicked_New England.
Nice. Well, our listeners should check that out, and if they're in the Salem area, they should absolutely run up there and check it out.
Even if you're not in the Salem area,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
should
sure, yeah,
absolutely.
you should check it. If you're in New England, it's Wicked New England, not Wicked Salem.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
and if something happens with my event that I am scheduled into, I will make sure I come up and visit. But unfortunately, I'm booked. But it was a pleasure having you on, man. I love having this kind of. I'm gonna keep your email and just be like, even just once in a while, just be like, you won't believe what just happened.
Listen,
Just to
anytime you
have
want
that
to,
person to bounce that off of is,
absolutely. If you ever want to nerd talk about conventions and events, I'm happy to come back or just even offline have the
yeah,
discussion. If you
awesome.
can't tell, this is the stuff that makes my blood pump. So,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love it, and it's so funny because like I talk to people and I'd be like, these goddamn vendors, blah blah blah, and they're like, why do you do it? I'm like, oh, most of them are amazing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like the three that I hate.
Listen, there is the week leading up to these things where every time you're like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah,
At least that's how I get. I'm like, I'm never doing that. Why do I do this to myself? I'm never doing this again. And then like a day after it, you're
yeah.
like, oh man, you're already thinking
You're
about the
already thinking
next
about like next
one.
year, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's
My
it's an addiction.
my youngest, who's turning 22 in May, has caught the bug,
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
I think feel like they had no choice because they're too much like me. But yeah, they're putting on their first event this November. They have a huge social media following, and they're crushing it to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna be kind of jealous. So yeah, it's fun because now we get to have these conversations about like vendors and people wanting to volunteer but really are just looking for whatever, and it's yeah, it takes all
Yeah.
kinds, I guess. So
Yeah, one thing I'm gonna say before we go here is like anybody who is a fan of these things, or this goes well beyond live events. If you're a fan of anything, a band, a singer, whatever the case may be, keep in mind, I know a lot of people these days only follow people on social media, and I gotta tell you, like, if somebody has an email list to sign up for it because we're in a day where like number one, I'm sure you know people were like out of nowhere for no real apparent reason. they get blocked on a social media.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, well, that's how I interacted with everybody who's interested in what I do. And there's nothing they can do to save that. And like as a fan, if you really want to know about whatever it is, if you see an email list, I know none of us want a ton of emails. I get it. But at the very least, like sign up for their email list and save at least one of them so you can go back to it and re-sign up if something were to happen to their social media. That's the only thing that we own as far as contacting fans and followers and stuff. Social media is great, but it's not reliable. The only thing we own is email lists. So sign up for them.
I'm gonna save this clip and send it to my kid because I've been on them for like years. Being like, you need to.
Do they not have an email list?
No. I'm like, you need to build an email list. You need. Oh. No, I really do it through social media, blah blah. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man.
Here's the thing. Even if you never use it, like as an event person or whatever creator you are, if you never use it, that's fine. Just have the list of emails.
Yeah.
So when the day comes, if the day comes, it's brutal, man. Especially if you rely on like one social media, it just cannot be trusted.
And it's like people don't like to be inundated with emails that they don't want. But if they're coming to your event, they're already interested in what you're doing. So we send out emails about our, weeknight events, smaller workshops and stuff. And we get like a almost 50% open rate, which is crazy.
Same.
But it's like stuff they're interested in. They have bought tickets from us. They know us. So it's like, it's the, when you get the random, like, hey, would you like to buy a mattress email? That's the shit nobody wants. So
100% agree. So just stepping off my soapbox now and
you heard it. So build an email list.
Do it.
Yeah. Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much. Listeners, thank you. And we'll see you again next Monday.
And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. Thanks again for listening.